check out this mess. I've got the whole fleet out in the sunshine. It's not even straight. It really is horrible stuff. All right, so I've jumped into Esther's cockpit. Well, that's a fail. That speedo drive is not spinning. I had a bit of ag when I left the garages to jump over the gate, and I landed on my heel and it hurt. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today I'm going to be heading around the garage to mess about with the cars, but first check out this mess that I've got to deal with. So what I have here in bits is the MacBook Pro that I use to edit my videos, and ages ago the trackpad, which is this thing here, it's the mouse basically, stopped working, and I ordered a new one months ago now, and I thought it was about time that I installed it into the MacBook. I have already this morning put a new battery in this backup laptop that I've got, which went successfully. And yeah, I thought fitting this trackpad was going to be simple, but the thing is, this wire, which I could have just undone from here and reused the old wire, but yeah, the other end of it plugs in over here and it sort of tucks under everything. So yeah, I've had to remove loads of stuff. I've had to disconnect loads of bits from the main board, take loads of screws out so that I can actually lift up the main board, just so that I'm able to feed the new cable underneath and plug it in where it goes. It was sort of stuck to this thing. The old cable was stuck to this thing. So yeah, this has turned into an absolute mission. Now, I know even less about fixing laptops than I do about fixing cars, so this could actually end up being an utter disaster. But yeah, I'm now at the point where I can put the new trackpad in, wire it up, and then start putting everything together, and hopefully none of these really delicate wires are damaged, and fingers crossed the MacBook will work once I try and switch it back on. One thing I am a bit worried about is I didn't bother backing up my computer at all. I don't think it should be an issue because, you know, I'm not changing the hard drive or anything. I mean, I think this is the hard drive and I have disconnected it from the main board. So yeah, hopefully I haven't lost my data. We'll just have to see. So anyway, I'm gonna crack on now with trying to put this thing back together. Feed this through here first. That goes there, 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 that goes there. He's broken. Yep. Now this connector here, there's a little lever that you lift up, this thing here, it goes down like that, you lift it up like that. Earlier on when I disconnected that, I didn't lift the lever. Now, I'm not sure if this has come apart and that bit that's in there should be attached to this or not. So I might have messed this up. I don't know what that's for. Possibly the keyboard. I'll just put it back together and see if the keyboard works, I suppose. Put the RAMs in. Chuck the battery in and see if everything works. Well, it's moving and it's clicking. Yeah, everything seems to work. So now I can put all the screws in and put it together properly. So many screws and so little knowledge. I'm a genius. So as it turns out, I was able to replace the trackpad on my MacBook Pro. Don't try this at home. If you don't know how to fix your computer, send it to the professionals. But yeah, looks like my 10-year-old MacBook Pro lives on to tell another story. Anyway, now that I've done that, I'm going to jump in Maude, my Maude Mk2 Escort, and head over to my other garage. Well, it's a beautiful day in this part of England today, which means I'll be able to pull the whole fleet out of the garages. I've actually got a list of little jobs to do on all the cars, to be honest, and we'll just see what I fancy doing when I get to the garage and how much I manage to get done today. I need to stop off and get Maude some fuel, which is ridiculously expensive at the moment, but she's still getting the good stuff, Shell V-Power. Well, I've hit traffic, which is really boring. It makes me want to do childish things like pops and bangs with the launch control. Now that I've actually got my backup laptop working, which is the one I use to plug into my ECUs, I've actually upped the launch revs to 3,900 revs, whereas before I had it at 3,700. Because it's dry today, hopefully I'll get a chance to experiment with the launch. Although my launch switch is broken, but that's one thing that I'm actually planning to rectify today. Check out the modified MX5. It's got a hard top on it. I can see a cage inside as well. Alright, so I've made it to the garage and I've got the whole fleet out in the sunshine. My dad's Mk2 Escort, Maude, my Maude Mk2 Escort, Esther, my ST170 powered Mk1 Escort, which is my favourite car, and my latest acquisition, Heidi, the hearing aid beige Mk2. And I think this is actually the first time I've had them all lined up together since I purchased Heidi. Now, as I mentioned on the way down here, all of these cars have got little jobs that I need to do. I don't know how much I'm going to get through today, but I think I'm going to start by sorting out Maude's launch control button. So Maude currently has this broken spring-loaded plastic toggle switch. So I'm just going to unscrew that to remove it. And I'm going to replace it with this push button. Now obviously this is a lot wider than the hole that's in this switch panel. So the first thing I need to do is drill that out. The biggest drill bit I've got is this 12mm one, and I think this is 17mm, and I can't find my step drills. I might have to do a bit of wiggling. Let's move this out of the way. And it looks like that hole is already 12mm. I've got this file thing. Let's see how I get on with that. I think I'll finish it off with a hand file. Alright, so the way this actually attaches to the switch panel is you've got this nut. So if I unscrew that, the old switch has got these spade terminals, whereas the new one has just got these screws. So I'm going to cut these off, strip a bit of wire, and then I can unscrew these screws, poke the wire into the holes, and then do the screws back up. I must remember to feed this nut onto the wires before I wire it up. So I'll do that now. Hang on a minute. This is wrong. Wires need to pass through the nut and then pass through the hole in the switch panel. And then we can wire the switch up. I should check what size spanner I'm going to need before it's awkward. Looks like 22mm. So if I poke this into the hole now, and then move the nut up the wires and screw it onto the back of the switch. It's going to be a nightmare trying to get a spanner on the back of that. I'll remove the switch panel. Alright, so that's on there nice and tight now. I'm going to screw the switch panel back on, and then I need to do these nuts up tight. I didn't do them up properly when I took it apart to paint the switch panel. Job done. It's not even straight. This is too high, but I'm not bothered. Let's see if it works. Sweet. Sorry, neighbours. Alright, so next up I'm going to turn my attention to Heidi. In the last video I coated all the areas that were welded by KEMBER at CLUMPFAB just with black spray can and then lacquer, but I want to go over some of these areas with this underseal stuff. Now before I can do that I need to key the areas up with this scotch just so that the underseal will stick. And I think before I start spraying that underseal about I need to move Esther out of the way. Don't want to get no overspray on her. My good friends Rob and Gary are struggling with my blunt drill bit, trying to drill out a bracket in that garage. Yeah, I think I'm going to get Gary to move his van out of the way as well. Alright, job done. Covered all those lower areas. It really is horrible stuff, but it's nice and lumpy. And along with the paint and the lacquer that I've already put on those areas, it should give it some decent protection. And because it is so lumpy, I've tried to go a bit heavy, like where the edges of the welding are, just to, you know, hide it a little bit. But yeah, it really is horrible stuff. And around the other side, yeah, I've really caked it on. And that is all it's getting. Move this tape now. I didn't bother putting any down there because I don't want to risk getting any in the threads of these riv nuts, and I didn't put it up the top areas here. Definitely should have took that tape off while I still had my gloves on. Now when I put a new front end on Maude, I actually undersealed the inside of the wings, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with Heidi's. I might just get them painted inside with 2-pack paint, which gives really good protection from rust, and it's also easy to clean. Alright, now one thing I do need to do before I leave here today is remove Esther's battery. It's completely dead. I had to push Esther out of her garage today, but my good friend Rob said he's got a battery charger at home, so I'm going to whip this out now and then give it to Rob, and who knows, might be able to even take Esther around the block later before I go. I've just put a nut on these bolts on this battery, just so that the bolts are sticking out proud, and then it'd be easier to put Rob's battery charger on there. Alright, I think it's about time I tried to figure out why Maude's speedo isn't working. I did have a look before in a previous video, but as loads of you suggested, what I should have done was, with the speedo cable out and the car in gear and the engine running, see if the actual speedo drive in the gearbox itself is spinning. So I'm going to need to get Maude up in the air. I think I'm going to jack the front up and just put some wheels under the front wheels, and then I'll jack the rear end up and put axle stands under it, and then we'll see if we can figure out exactly what's going on. Yeah, Rob's got 2 of my axle stands. Just just remove the cable completely. Put her in second. Drop the handbrake. As you can see, that speedo drive is not spinning. They're actually really easy to change. On the other side here, there's a cap that you can prise off. And yeah, this comes out that side, and then you pop the new one in and put a new cap on. In fact, sometimes you can just whack this, you know, because it's broken anyway, and then that pops the cap off the other side. Might need to lower the gearbox to do it, but yeah, I've changed those before. They're not difficult. And there's a little seal that goes here that you may as well change while you're at it as well. Yeah, while I'm under here, I thought I may as well look at the state of Maude's leaky sump. I mentioned before that I thought it might have been coming from the block breather thing, and I tightened the bolts up, although to be fair I was only able to get on 2 of the 3 bolts. But yeah, there's still oil coming from somewhere. There appears to be a trace on the bottom of that block breather. So maybe it is that, I don't know. Should probably open the bonnet to let some light in. You can just try and look from the top. It definitely looks like there's a bit of moisture around the flange for that block breather. Although based on my previous experience with this junk sump that I'm running, I am assuming that it probably is the sump gasket leaking again. Although someone told me the other day that G19 have made another batch of their rear-wheel drive Z-Tech sumps, which are actually made by modifying a genuine Ford sump, and that is, you know, the ideal type of sump that I want to run on Maude and Esther. I did ring G19 the other day, but they didn't answer, and I did leave a voicemail, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to buy 2 of their sumps to fit to my cars. I did try and order a sump off of G19 over a year ago now, but at the time they were focusing more on sort of MX5 stuff, so yeah, they weren't able to make me a sump, so they just sent me a refund for the donor sump that I sent them. But yeah, if they have now got some in stock, I'm probably going to purchase 2 off them. But yeah, I am going to have another go at seeing if I can get to that 3rd bolt on this breather. I don't want to remove the manifold to do it, you know, I can't be bothered. The engine's not losing that much oil at all compared to how it was before. I think I've had to top it up once since I put this engine in, and yeah, and he took a little bit, so I'm not too worried about it. But you know, long term, I want to take this car to drift days, I want to take it to Santa Pod, and leaky sumps, man, the bane of my life. Got this swan neck spanner. Don't think I tried this last time. We'll see. I think it was that one there I couldn't get on before. Yeah, I'm not able to get on that bolt properly. I'm able to sort of semi get on it, but then when I try and turn it, you know, the socket slips off because it's not at the right angle. It's not super loose anyway, that bolt, and I have done up the other 2, so we'll just see. But as I say, my money is on the sump gasket causing the issue. Alright, so about an hour has passed and I've just been helping my friend Rob with something, and now I need to pack up and get out of here because Kat's booked a table for us later. So I need to put my dad's Mark III back in the garage, I need to get Maude back on all 4s, put Esther in her garage and push Heidi into her garage. I've just got Esther's battery back from Rob, so I'm going to fit that first and see if we can get her fired up. Alright, so I've jumped into Esther's cockpit, and before I try and start her up, I want to have a look at a couple of things on the map. Now, I know that this car overfuels when you're cranking and when it's warming up because, you know, the plugs get wet. So seeing as I've got my laptop with me, I thought I might as well try and make a couple of adjustments. Now, this table here, which I got up by clicking crank ASE, this shows the fueling when you're cranking, and basically down the side here you've got your temperature, so you know how hot the engine is, and here is how much it's increasing the fuel by while it's cold. So you can see that if it's -40, there's a 3. A 1 would mean that it's not adjusting the fueling at all. So at the moment we're at 19 degrees, and you can see that at, you know, around 20 degrees it's a 2 instead of a 1. I'm guessing that means that it's giving double the fuel. So I'm going to try and drop these numbers, the 2s, I'm going to drop them to 1.5. I'll leave the -20 and -40. But yeah, I'm going to change all those 2s to 1.5. And, you know, I'm no expert, but I'm guessing that will mean that it'll be slightly leaner when you're trying to crank, which I'm guessing will solve my issue of it overfueling when you're trying to start the engine. So click on each one of these cells, double click it, and I'll just put 1.5, and then the same for the other 4. It's worth noting that the plugs are probably already sooted up from last time. I remember when we picked the car up from Gavin Pink after he done the repair, once I'd got it back here and got it off the truck, I was unable to start it. But we'll keep trying. Let's go to diagnostics while we're here and just check that we are getting the sync. I just noticed that it's only turning over at like 200 and something RPM when I'm cranking. Well, that's a fail. I obviously need to clean the plugs or replace them from where they got sooted up last time, so I'll just have to push Esther back in her garage, and then I need to pack everything else up and then get out of here. Put this speedo cable back on the gearbox so it don't hang on the floor. This time, push this one in. I had a bit of ag when I left the garages. I pulled Maude out, shut the gate behind me, then I realised that I'd left my keys the other side of the gate and had to jump over the gate, and I landed on my heel and it hurt, and then I couldn't really walk on my heel, I had to walk on my toes. I've never broken a bone, so I don't know what that would feel like. I really hope I haven't broken it. I'd like to think that if I'd broken it, it would hurt more than it does now though. Luckily it's my clutch foot, but still. And now after all that palaver, I'm running a bit late. So it's a mad rush to get home, get washed, and then me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat are going out for some nice food. Hopefully I'll get a chance to test the launch control button at some point on the way home. A little bit of time has passed and me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat are going for some grub. My foot is killing, man. I'm gonna have to limp like a cripple. Alright, so we've just got home after a delicious meal at the restaurant. The restaurant was in Radlett for anyone who's interested. And now we're having dessert, courtesy of Kat's dad, Marco. Massive shout to you if you're watching, mate. I've got some frozen peas underneath my injured heel. And now my foot's cold, which is really uncomfortable. I did suggest to Kat we put the peas in the microwave so they're not so cold, but she reckons they wouldn't be as effective. Kat did suggest that we go to a walk-in clinic so that I can get my heel looked at, but I can't walk. Anyway, that's enough of my moody jokes. At least I made some progress around the garage today before I became a cripple. Really cool that I now know what's causing Maude's speedo cable to not work. So I'm going to get on the internet and order another speedo drive. I do need to figure out which colour speedo drive I need to buy though. Her speedo wasn't accurate anyway, but yeah, I don't really want to make it any less accurate. For anyone out there who has got knowledge about those speedo drives, I've got the stock 1300 clocks in the car. I've got a Type 9 gearbox and I've got a 4.1:1 ratio diff. So yeah, do let us know in the comments if you know which speedo drive I should get. I'm really glad that I managed to put the underseal on the inner wings of Heidi. So that's another step in the progress of her build. And I've brought Esther's battery home to charge it. And hopefully next time around the garage, if it's sunny, I can give her plugs a clean and take her for a spin around the block for the first time in ages. I didn't quite get through the list of jobs that I planned to get through today, but that's always the way. I never end up getting done everything that I want to get done, but we can save them for another day. So I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media. I'll also leave a link to my website down there for those of you that want to check out my regular blog posts or purchase some merchandise to support and represent the channel. I'll also leave my email address in the description for any of you guys that want to get in touch with me. But other than that, until next time, from me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat, thanks for watching.